Call the Scottsboro City Council meeting July 13th to order. The invocation given by Tony Wallingsford and the pledge of allegiance given by Gary Stewart.
Pray with you. Heavenly Father, as we come before you this evening, we pause to lift up your name and give you thanks and praise. We ask your continued blessings over this city, over this valley, over its citizens, our workers, and our leaders. We invite you here among us tonight, that our direction and our decisions might be based in your will. It's in your precious name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Phillips, will you do a roll call, please?
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Wallingsford?
Here.
Mr. Gary Stewart?
Here.
Mr. Miller?
Here.
Mr. Patrick Stewart?
Here. First item is the adoption of the agenda. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
I have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Not we'll vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Next is approval of previous minutes from June 22nd, 2015. Do I have a motion to approve the previous minutes from June 22nd, 2015? Make the motion to approve the minutes from June 22nd, 2015. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Now we'll vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. There is no old business, so we'll go to new business. First item on tonight's agenda is to consider the termination of the JCS contract. Do I have a motion to consider the termination of the JCS contract?
I make a motion to terminate this contract.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, we'll vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. So the next item is to consider the fire department budget amendment of $9,990. Do I have a motion to consider the fire department budget amendment for $9,990?
Make the motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Do we not help? Sorry, go ahead.
That grant money, that will go back into the general fund, correct?
Yes, we'll just have to pay it up front, and that money will come back and be placed right back where it came from.
But I guess my question is, when we receive that money, it's not going to go back into the fire department's fund.
No.
It's going to go back into the general.
It's going to come from the general fund, the original check, right? Yes, it'll go back where it came from, the general fund.
And Gene, we asked last time, what time frame did you find that out, since that's what?
No, I haven't been able to get anything concrete yet, and that's typical.
Okay. When did you plan on ordering?
They have to be invoiced by the end of July. That's why we're trying to get it done. So in the next week or so, I plan on getting them ordered and invoiced for the reimbursement.
Thank you.
Any other discussion?
Gene, you do have a written confirmation that the grant has been approved, though, right?
Yes, sir. Actually, Mike helped us with the emails here. So all that's running through them.
Any further discussion? Now we'll vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Next item is to consider the resolution to apply for funding for the Goose Pond Trail. It was in our packet tonight as well. So with that being said, do I have a motion to consider a resolution to apply for the funding for the Goose Pond Trail? Make the motion. Second.
Second.
Any discussion? If not, we'll vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Next item is to consider the approval for the A-Trip bid for Porter Road and Woods Cove Road. Do I have a motion to consider the approval of the A-Trip bid for the Porter Road and Woods Cove Road? Second.
Second.
Any discussion?
Mr. Stewart, if I could just talk about it for just a minute. This is one of 3 A-trip projects that we were awarded. That was bid June 26th by the Alabama Department of Transportation. The letter says that they have checked out the bid and it does meet all the bid requirements. But we have to send a check with our part of the cost to Montgomery by Wednesday, July the 22nd. If you look on the second page, construction cost totals $4,203,519. Federal funds of that was $3.3 million, and the city's funds that are due is $840,703.92. In a couple of weeks, there will be a contract for construction and inspection from an engineering firm, but that work is included in this price. So the total cost for this project on the city's part is $840,703.92. That money will come from the excess of the service road bond fund. When we didn't complete all the service roads, you were unable to obtain the property. And that's just kind of the background behind it.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion on that?
This is where again, Mayor, what roads?
It's Porter Road from Highway 72 to the four-way stop at Parks Avenue, Porter and Woods Cove Road, in front of the hospital, all like the four-way stop.
Thank you.
I think it's 3.7 or 8 miles, something like that.
Is that going to be widened again?
Yes, it'll be repaved, widened, and some drainage work will be done the entire route. And also, there will be some base foundations and some improvement on the base of it.
Anybody else have any discussion? If not, we'll vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Next item is Chairman Matthew Hodges, Run City Sales Tax.
Good evening. I appreciate the opportunity to come before you, Mr. President, Council, Mayor. As you all know, we've been out talking about the sales tax proposal that the county is pushing for. I want to take a few minutes and quickly run through some information about the county, where our dollars come from, as well as some ideas of where these dollars are going, where we plan to spend these dollars, and then of course the impacts that the county has on the city of Scottsboro through the different activities and things we do. I'll do my best to make that quick, and if of course there are any questions, I'd be glad to answer any questions that there may be. So first thing I want to point out is the county gets no sales tax that's in place right now. There's nothing that we receive out of the 2 cents, or out of the total 9 cents right now to fund our general operations for the county. There are 4 cents that go to the state, 3 cents that go to Scottsboro, and most municipalities have a 3-cent tax in place. And the 2 cents of quote-unquote county tax goes 100% to education. That's split up between the Jackson County Board of Education and the City of Scottsboro Board of Education. I'll talk a little bit more about the impact that has in just a moment. But the point is, where our dollars come from is very limited. Our main dollars come from gas tax is the biggest thing. That funds our Public Works Department in total. After that is the property tax, which is the biggest source of revenue to the general fund, and then the TVA in lieu of tax. I think everybody knows, and the city has been affected by this as well, the drop in the TVA in lieu of tax has been very profound. It's been very problematic over the years. Since 2012, the county has seen a $432,000 drop in lieu of taxes just for our general fund budget. That's not what applies to all the cities and other municipalities. Now, we expect that to drop probably another 2 years before we see the benefits of Google. What we expect to see at that point is basically, if we're seeing that drop now, we'll see a rise from the power usage, again with how the in lieu of tax is done, and then we'll continue to see that drop down unless something's done with Bellefonte. But with Bellefonte, the coal plant closing down, we expect for those dollars to continue to decrease after we see that boost from Google. Of course, we hope we can do more things like Google, and that will assist in that in lieu of tax, but we've got to rely on what we've got right now. So in lieu of tax has been a big problem as far as the county dollars. Our gas tax is down $300,000 since 2011. It's a big problem with our revenue sources. And one thing I want to explain to you, again, property tax being the biggest source, I think that's $2.9 million a year we get our property tax to operate our general fund. It's not a lot of dollars when you think about the big picture and all the things that we have to do. But when you go in, you buy your driver's license, you pay $36.25. The county only gets $1.50 of that. When you get a tag, there's a tag fee on there at $1.25 out of that whole thing. We get that $1.25 and a small portion of the property tax on it. There's a calculation done, I think, off of a $140 tag, the county gets $20 off of that. So the thing we've been trying to let folks know is when you go to the courthouse and you're doing all this business that you're doing at the county courthouse or through Jackson County with our entities, we don't necessarily get all those dollars to operate the facilities and the things that we do. That's being split up between the cities, the schools, the state, and any other entities that may take part in that. You know, I don't have to tell you about paving. I do want to touch on that real quick. The cost of paving, of course, has increased tremendously. I mentioned how our gas tax is down $300,000. Last year, we put $0 in the local paving. For this year, we put $0 in the local paving. Last year, we took funds from our capital improvement funds and paved 8 miles of road. So we've kind of done the calculation. Even if we were able to do, you know, what we did last year, our 8 miles of local roadway plus the federal dollars, which is about 12 miles a year, it'd take us 90 years to get back to the roads we paved last year. And that's important to the city of Scottsboro because we do have county roads within the city of Scottsboro. The Snodgrass Road, the County Road 33, prominent one here, Tupelo Pike, going out towards Goose Pond Plantation. There are several county roads within Jackson County, or within the city of Scottsboro, that we're responsible for, so that is an impact on that. And we do want to be able to take care and maintain our roadways. Now, real quickly before I go into what we're going to use this for and more of the effects on Scottsboro, the reason we're pursuing a sales tax as opposed to any of these other things, a lot of folks will say, well, why don't you raise a tag fee, or why don't you do a property tax, you know, all these different things. We feel like a sales tax, we estimate the sales tax is going to bring in $3.3 million. Now, with a $350,000 deficit, you say, why do you need $3.3 million? It's because we're not paving roads. We're not doing a lot of the things that I'll go into in just a minute. But we're pursuing that because, one, it takes care of a lot of the issues for the future. But with, you can trade that out for a millage rate on a property tax. Right now, the county's millage rate is 7.5 mills. We would have to more than double our percentage of, or double our portion of the property tax. We'd have to add an additional 9 mills on property tax to get the same benefit that this 1 penny of sales tax is going to give us. Another part of this is we all know the benefits from fishermen and the ball teams that come into town, the hikers, the cavers. Now, all these folks are coming into Jackson County and constantly spending dollars here, and right now we're not being able to utilize those dollars. We get some off the gas tax, but we're not able to utilize those dollars to go back and to support, you know, all of Jackson County and all of the entities within Jackson County. So with the sales tax, now we can utilize and capitalize off of those investments that other folks from outside are making. Right now, that burden's, with the exception of the gas tax, that burden is 100% on the citizens of Jackson County, for the most part, on the citizens of Jackson County. So we want to be able to spread that, and hopefully in the future not have to come back and ask for more tax dollars, which leads to the third part. With the sales tax, you see growth. I know the city of Scottsboro, we've seen some slight growth in that sales tax over the years. You don't see that kind of growth with property tax. We've not seen that growth with property tax. I think we had a slight increase from 2007 to 2011, and it's pretty well stayed steady since 2011. So to have a sales tax, and again, see that growth over the years is going to help us for many years down the road. Real quickly on what we want to spend this on, and I do want to make a comment real quick. When I talk Jackson County, I say Jackson County a lot, but when I say Jackson County, I hope that everybody understands. I mean Scottsboro, Stevenson, Bridgeport, every person, every entity in the county, that's what we're here for. That's what we want to be a part of. That's what we want to participate in. So that's what we mean when we talk about all these things we want to spend these dollars on. It doesn't matter where in Jackson County that is. If we see the benefit and the opportunity, we want to be able to make that investment. So, of course, county roads being the biggest thing, we want to provide funding for the maintenance of the county roads, support of resource officers in our schools. I know the city of Scottsboro has some resource officers. I'm not going to touch too much on that, but we do have problems with the coverage. We've got 4 deputies maybe on the road at this given time, 4 deputies for this entire county. That's not a good situation for us to have, and we need to be able to back that up some. So by having resource officers in schools, one, we hope to prevent any issues from happening. As someone said today, it's a matter not of if, but when. You know, people always think, oh, that's not going to happen here. Well, you know, we want to do all we can to prevent that from happening here, issue at our schools. But also in having those resource officers in schools, we have that ability to respond to some of the further reaches of the county that are in need of that. Support our fire departments throughout Jackson County. This has been a particular important, especially a lot of departments have seen, all departments or most departments have seen a funding change this year. A lot of those departments lost some funding because of things that needed to be corrected as far as the funding distribution went. So because of that, the main priority in doing the supporting fire departments throughout Jackson County was to cover those folks. However, we've not limited that to this set. We've committed $300,000 is what we want to put towards fire departments in Jackson County. Of course, the first portion of that will go to recover those funds, but then the rest of that we want to use throughout Jackson County to participate and help in any way throughout Jackson County with any fire departments that need that. Of course, how that's important to the city of Scottsboro, I think a good example is the fire that happened in Higdon a couple weeks or maybe even a month ago now. We had 8 county departments, a Georgia department and a DeKalb County department respond to that fire in Higdon. If we had an emergency or situation here in Scottsboro like that, I think the benefit of having those county departments around to be able to assist and help with an issue like that is incredibly important to the citizens of Scottsboro and to the business owners. If it's your business, you want all the protection you can get. So having those county departments, I think, provides a vital role to the city of Scottsboro as far as, again, prevention or in case a situation happens where they need to be called upon. One of the biggest benefits to the city of Scottsboro is the assistance in community, industrial, and business development. We committed dollars to this downtown redevelopment project. We supported the airport project on the overlay of the runway there. We assisted with the county the farmers market is the Jackson County Farmers Market. I think the Scottsboro kind of initiated that though. But we participated in a lot of things in Scottsboro, and we want to continue to be able to do that. We want to be able to continue to put funds in Scottsboro, again, Bridgeport, Stevenson, any of the communities that need benefits like that. But furthermore, when it comes to water, sewer, gas, when it comes to industrial development, right now we just don't see those dollars come back to the county when we make those investments. A good example is Google, a $600 million investment that was made in Jackson County, and the benefits to the county are nominal. Now, as I said, we expect the in lieu of tax to bounce back, but we'll probably see that go back down. Outside of that, we get no sales tax. We have the EDA or IDB abates our property taxes on those. So when something like that happens, and when other industrial development happens in Jackson County, we're not seeing anything that can recover our funds. So if we want to invest in something, we're drawing it from our piggy bank, and we're not getting anything to replenish that piggy bank. We want to be part of industrial development in Jackson County, and that's why we think this is such a vital, important thing for the county to participate in. Now, it doesn't matter where that industrial development happens. If it happens in Scottsboro, Stevenson, Bridgeport, Scottsboro benefits 2 ways. One, again, we hope to land something in the Hollywood Industrial Park there. We hope to fill it up over time. But the benefits there, you're going to have either more folks living here, but you're definitely going to have more folks shopping in Scottsboro, which means more tax dollars for the city of Scottsboro in the long term. Also, again, with the Google investment, it doesn't matter where in the county that investment's made, the Scottsboro Board of Education receives the benefits from that sales tax, regardless of where that investment is made. So off that $600 million investment, the city of Scottsboro's Board of Education stands to see a good chunk of change, I guess, a good amount of dollars off that investment. So we want to be able to do that, and we think that by being able to participate in that, we're going to see a whole lot more investment in Jackson County. I think that's really been one of the problems. We've not had the dollars to participate in industrial and business development. We'd love to participate more in the downtown square and do more to try and draw business downtown, which again, if we can participate in some of the different incentives and things that the city of Scottsboro does, hopefully that takes a little bit of the burden off the city of Scottsboro, but also, if we have a sales tax, when we make those investments, we're going to see those dollars come back and we can do even more over the long run. So that's an incredibly important aspect of this, and we think that's kind of the where the sales tax is a fix to our problem of the budget deficit. I need to talk about that a little bit more. But we see that as a fix to our problem with where our budget's at right now, as opposed to just, again, some small thing that we can do now and we'll worry about what we're going to do next year. By reinvesting, we're going to see more dollars in the future, and again, we won't have to look for further taxes in the future. And then the final part is provide funds to shore up the remaining budget deficit. Now, again, I'm sure that you've all seen or heard, we still have a $350,000 budget deficit within the county. We started, on paper, it was a $1.2 million deficit with, in lieu of tax drops and different things like that, it was closer to $1.6, $1.7 million deficit, but we've cut that to $350,000. This commission, I think, has worked incredibly hard. The department heads throughout the county and the elected officials have worked incredibly hard to cut their budgets to meet, continue to meet the needs and the services that we have to provide under the current circumstances of the reduced budget that we have. And where we're at right now is what we say with this sales tax. This is an option of whether we move forward or backwards. We've cut, we feel, as much as we can without starting to cut services and cut the benefits that, or the processes that we have in Jackson County. We're not paving roads right now. We're not providing support for fire departments. We don't have those resource officers. A lot of these things we're not doing, and that's why we're asking for this $3.3 million. We could cut the budget tomorrow, but that's not going to solve our problem. That's not going to give us any work towards the future, and it gives us nothing when TVA and loop taxes goes again. It gives us nothing to bounce back from, and it gives us no way again to invest in industrial development and us to benefit off of it, so that we can, you know, participate more and do more for the future. That is an incredibly quick review of some of the dollars that where our dollars come from, incredibly quick view of where we want to spend those dollars. But I want to talk a little more real quickly about where these dollars, or how a lot of the things the county does affects the city of Scottsboro. And some things, activities where the county is involved in Scottsboro, our sheriff's office supports a lot of the activities, all the county court activities, subpoenas, mental orders, juvenile trips, pretty much anything from the county court system, warrants, things like that. Our county deputies are serving those on a day-to-day basis. Now, it's been pointed out that's not something we have a choice on, but that's the point. We don't have a choice to do a lot of the services that we do, but we still have to have a way to pay for them. And right now, we don't have a way to pay for them. Obviously, I think there's a huge impact from folks that live outside of Scottsboro that come to shop in Scottsboro. There's a huge impact from that, and a lot of tax dollars that benefit Scottsboro through that. I mentioned the benefits to the school system from our county taxes. Benefits from county park revenue. We've got a small business in a sense there at County Park, but again, it's a small business just as any other small business that's contributing to the economy here in Scottsboro, whether it be through the lodging tax or through gas tax or different things like that. And another big thing, you know, fishing is huge in Jackson County. We maintain several boat ramps throughout this county. And again, a lot of those folks do their business here in Scottsboro. So those are things that we participate in and help in more on a direct level. Things that we fund, items that we fund and support, different processes and programs we support, the library, rescue squad, the health department. Our health department currently has 2 environmentalists. We'd only be down to 1 right now if we weren't participating in that program. The senior center, public transportation, senior RX, Boys and Girls Club, extension services, career center. There's a whole list of folks that we contribute to that do have an effect on the city of Scottsboro. We put the numbers together, and based on all the things we contribute just from those agencies, plus any direct support things we get to the city of Scottsboro, it's over $300,000 a year that we've been putting into these agencies, and again, those direct appropriations. That's a huge impact if you look at that over a 10-year time period or 5-year time period. Whatever the case may be. That doesn't include, again, the contribution to city schools. Last year we gave, from that sales tax, $2.7 million to the county school system. So I know that's a huge help and boost to them. So we want to participate. We want to help. We want to do what we can to grow Jackson County's economy. And again, when I say that, I mean everybody. We want to participate in that growth, but we need the means to do that. The final thing, you know, a lot of folks, I do get this from a lot of Scottsboro residents, is, well, that's not going to affect me. I've talked about some of the benefits we give, but, every county resident or every city resident, they go into the Jackson County Courthouse to do business, whether it be for tags, driver's license, all the different services that they provide, or even the state provides. So, people ask, well, what are the negatives of this? If we have to close down 1 day a week, if we have to cut back staff, that is putting, that's more wait time for anybody that has to go do business in that courthouse. We've got to work with the court systems and see how they're going to react if we have to close down 1 day a week. But there are a lot of things like that that affect, again, Scottsboro residents just like they do everybody else. Obviously, we could not participate in the projects that we have, and we did that kind of on a leap of faith with the airport, with the downtown project, because we see the need of that. This commission, again, we see the need to participate in all our communities, and we want to continue to do that. We can't do that, obviously, going forward without some sort of revenue to help us provide for that. And then, like I said, if we're not able to invest, we're not going to see those revenues in the long term. So that's, again, those are my quick and dirty details. I'll be glad to answer any questions or anything that you have regarding that.
Do anyone have any questions? Comments? Matthew?
I've got a comment, if I may. I've listened to the comments you've made throughout the county and here tonight, and I've heard you say that, talk about certain taxes and you don't get any of them because the schools get it. Well, a good part of our tax dollars go to schools as well. So we're not alone in that. And I personally feel that if we go to 10%, the city of Scottsboro, which would probably be one of the smallest towns in the state, that goes to that 10%. And it concerns me that should we do that and go to 10%, and the people living on the south end will go to Marshall County and shop, which some of them do anyway, but I think more will. People on the mountain will go to DeKalb County. People on the east end will go up past Davis and Bridgeport, because they're going to be higher as well in Tennessee, and then everything west of the hospital or Madison County. So not only will we be at a higher interest rate, a higher tax rate, we're going to have fewer dollars too. So we're on, it appears to me that we're cutting our own throat in the city of Scottsboro with less money coming in to make sure that you guys get more money in the county. I mean, it's how you look at it. That's the way I look at it. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think so.
I think that is 1 cent of the city's 3 cents, I think, is obligated towards some bonds for the education. Is that correct? I think that's how it's set up. So yes, I understand that 1 cent of that goes towards education. As far as the 10 cents, I'd argue that that's kind of the opposite of the case. If we do the investments and we make the investments that we're talking about in business and industrial development, I think you're going to see growth in your sales tax. You're going to see more businesses come to Jackson County, which means, I know we've heard that a lot. We've heard folks, well, I'm just going to go to DeKalb, or I'm just going to go to Marshall. Right. But if we can invest again in those businesses here, people are going to shop here. If we have the options of the Dunhams and the different things going in the old Kmart building, who wants to drive an hour and a half when they can get 5 minutes away? I think that, again, through that investment, we're going to see an increased sales tax base here in Jackson County as a whole, and definitely the city of Scottsboro will see that benefit. If we don't invest in industrial development, where are we going to go? We're not going to see more people in Scottsboro, Jackson County, and we're not going to see the dollars come in to increase taxes over the years as those increased population, increased investment comes in. So that's where I think this is truly an investment in the county, and in the long term, we're going to see a huge benefit throughout the county from it.
Yeah, another thing that concerns me is that you talk about needing this money for all these things. One thing being capitalized projects like vehicles and equipment and all kinds of things you're talking about. The city of Scottsboro, for a number of years, when we do our budget, we don't do capital outlay. We set it aside. And then as the year progresses and we see where we're at, then we start funding small projects at a time until the money runs out. It appears, and it seems, people seem to think that we're just running over with money, but we're not. We manage what we've got quite well. We don't get everything we want. We don't take care of a lot of things we need to. And it really concerns me that this is going to hurt the city of Scottsboro. I've heard it said 100 times. It's just a penny. But it's really $3.3 million that's coming out of people's pocket. So it's not just a penny. It's a lot of money.
Not just Jackson County residents, though. It's all these folks that come to visit too. And again, I still have to argue the point that without that investment, where are we going to go if we don't make that investment? We've got to be able to make the investment if we want to see that continued growth and see the Scottsboro, as you say.
And I think the city of Scottsboro has to think that what I predict is true, that people don't shop as much as they used to go out. And we're going to go down while you're going up. And so, we have to think about that very carefully, I think.
I understand the concerns. I hope it does pass, but I hope that we'll show you that, again, through that investment, that won't be the case. And as far as the capital outlay, we do little to no capital outlay. Really, out of this program, obviously we expect growth through the years, but the only quote-unquote maybe capital items outside of roads, which would be an annual budget, would be the industrial business development. Those are dollars we'll set aside and use them when a project comes up that's needed to participate in. Whether it's a sidewalk project, whether it's investing in something to come in the Hollywood Industrial Park or Scottsboro Industrial Park or anywhere else that comes up.
Thank you.
Matthew, I know at one time you said something about what was the cost per person per year?
I've done it for my family. It's tough to say because everybody spends
Spends
something.
differently, right?
For my particular family, it's going to cost me $120 per year. We average it for what I spend. I've got my budget, and based on what I spend, it's $30 per person in my house. My average is, what I've come up with is 20 to 40 per person based on what you spend. Now, some people are going to spend a whole lot more, but that's really something individuals have to look at based on what they spend. One person made a comment, a lot of folks don't spend $10,000 on taxable items, and that's another important aspect of this. This is on more retail and restaurant type stuff. This isn't on your mortgage. This isn't on your rent. This isn't on your automobile payments. It's not on utilities. This is affecting those things again. Yes, it affects us, but it also affects all those folks that spend those dollars on things like that when they come out of come from outside of Texas County.
What would be, I know you were talking about it being 9 millage points on property taxes. How would that impact a family living in the county if you went up that much?
That's all based on what you pay on your homeowners, or what you pay on your property tax. I would be willing to bet, though, that would affect low-income folks more, because if you're renting, those property taxes are going to be handed down to those folks. That if you're renting a piece of property or whatever, and you own that, you're going to pass those property tax costs down. So I would believe that would end up costing more, especially on low income.
The cities there at 10%, do you have a number on that, the state of Alabama?
I think there are 81 cities in Alabama, and this would not be the smallest. There's one, I think I looked at, it was like 350 population. It was some small. I was amazed that they were at 10 cents, but it was a very small community that was in there.
So there's more than 80
currently. And some, I think we've got a few of them actually at 11%. I know, I think 2 maybe they're at least 11%.
And obviously, if you're looking at going up, there's others looking at going up. Do you have an idea, or can you get that information on how many are actually looking to increase? I imagine we're not the only one.
We're not. There have been a lot of property tax increases that have failed recently throughout Alabama and many other states. Sales tax increases also. I think based on what I'm hearing, I know Fort Payne is looking to go up another penny. They've discussed that. Lawrence County has discussed another penny because they're in a very similar situation with us, with the TVA in lieu of tax impacting them tremendously with the paper mill closing. So there are lots of other counties. Again, those two, Lawrence County and DeKalb County. Marshall County went up last year on property, or 2 years ago maybe now, on property taxes. So we're not the first to say that something has to be done. It's been going on. I think you're going to see a whole lot more of it, though. And from what I've seen, a lot of these folks are kind of waiting to see some of what's happening here too, what happens with the sales tax. But I believe that you'll see that increase throughout the state. As we continue on with the budget problems. It's not just Jackson County. There are a lot of counties. Counties have been not able to receive that revenue in a lot of ways. We can't raise taxes on anything. As I understand it, the only 2 things we can increase taxes for are the sanitation fees, which we can't use for our general fund. Only a percentage of that can go to the general fund, and the school tax, the sales tax for schools. So counties throughout are in a very difficult situation. But I can research and see if we can find an exact number of how many are pursuing something like that, and see what we can find.
Have you talked with any of the ones who went up to 2% to see if they've had a drop in sales?
I've not personally talked with any of them. If you look at, a lot of folks around Birmingham where you see that business, and I think this is the impact of that. We talk about seeing that reduce or that change in sales. A lot of areas that have that, around Birmingham is a big section of areas. And then down south, South Alabama, there's a lot of folks that have it, and then you've got some kind of scattered around. But down in South Alabama, tourism is a big aspect of it, and that's one benefit I think here. With the tourism we have that goes on in Jackson County, those folks don't necessarily, they're not researching. When these folks go to Unclaimed Baggage to buy something, they're coming to Unclaimed Baggage because they want to participate in that experience. They're not necessarily saying, oh, what's the sales tax? That's going to determine whether I go or not. So I don't think that we're going to have that kind of change for ourselves. And every community is different, but no, we've not looked directly with any of them.
Mr. Stewart, I have just a couple of questions, and I have something I'm going to say after everybody answers your questions. Okay. What is going to be the cost of the special election?
$80,000.
for the entire county? And that was something you already budgeted?
We didn't budget that, but again, we've got our piggy bank, we plan to take it out of that. We felt it was necessary. We can't go another year with the deficit in place. We have to do something to
Rather
make
than
this.
wait till March, I think the election's in March. Is that
Right,
correct?
yeah, we need to have this in effect. We needed it in effect last year, but we couldn't make any headway. And we feel like that's an investment that's necessary to determine where our future is.
I read in the paper that, I think it was Bob said that $63 is what it amounts to per person. How did you arrive at that number?
That number was taken, 3.3 million, and divided it by 53,000 residents.
So it's $63 for every man, woman, and child in
Right.
Jackson County. So if a household is 5 people, it would be over $300.
Right, again, that number's, I think, dramatically overstated, and as we looked at it more, we came back and said that can't be accurate. If based on my household income and what we're spending, the average household income or whatever, I don't see $63 as being an accurate number of what folks are
But
spending.
that was the number y'all put out there.
Right, yes, yeah, and we've corrected that since.
Anybody else have any questions?
Matthew, you said cities around Birmingham and then in South Alabama. Is there any other county in North Alabama that has a 10% sales tax?
The closest I know is in Birmingham. Like I said, I think that it's all a guess. We don't know what'll happen, whether, again, Lawrence County pursues that or not. If they did, that would put them up there.
And you mentioned several other cities that were considering this.
Right.
I know, for instance, Fort Payne is presently 8%, so that would
Right.
put them at 9%.
Right.
Are those other cities are any of those other cities that you mentioned, is that putting them at a 10% sales tax?
Again, if Lawrence County pursues that, I believe that would put them at 10%. Have you remember that? And then that's the only one right now that we know of in North Alabama that's pursuing that. Huntsville and Madison County, again, they've got a totally different tax structure. I think Huntsville or Madison County gets a portion of that sales tax, but they're not responsible for they've got more tax base paying into it, whereas we don't. We're a very rural county for the benefits that we get off of it. The Marshall County, they've got increased property taxes, so their sales tax. I do suspect that they're going to have to do something, whether that'll be further property taxes in the future or sales tax, I don't know. That's a decision for them to make. DeKalb County, again, Fort Payne pursuing that. DeKalb County is going to have to come up with something. They get 0.5% of their sales tax. Again, whether they'll pursue a sales tax or whether they'll pursue property tax or whatever else, but they've got to pursue something. So, like I said, we're kind of the first ones, I think, in North Alabama to pursue this. I think a lot of folks are waiting to see what happens here.
And I guess that's what I'm coming around to. When is this special election to be held? August
18th.
And when would it go into effect?
January 1. If we pass it, we'll have to get our resolution ordinance in place October 1 or sometime in October, and we would have it take effect January.
So what I'm hearing is, in lieu of right now, and under our present circumstances, were this to pass, Scottsboro, Alabama would have the highest sales tax north of Birmingham in the state of Alabama.
That's correct. And I understand, like I said, I understand the concerns with that. The negative to this is if we don't make those investments, if we have to cut the services, if we have to do the things, that there is no status quo. There is no staying where we're at. We could increase property taxes, but we're going to have to come back in however many years and say we've got to do something else. This investment, I think, will make a huge difference in Jackson County's economy to where that 10 cents is not going to be a negative for us. Again, tourism being a big aspect of that. Like I said, I do understand the concern, but if we don't have the dollars and we do go backwards, then you're going to see I think you'll see reduced funding. We've already seen reduced populations, reduced school attendance. If we continue on the trend we're on right now, we're just going to see a worse and worse situation. If we make that investment, we can see a better situation. Anything that we do, like I said, we have to go through the legislature. We pursue the sales tax because we strongly believe that takes care of, a 9 mil property tax. How do you think that's going to come across when we say 9 mils? It's the same amount of dollars ultimately as far as what we receive from it, but that 9 mils is going to have a much different and profound effect than 1 penny of sales tax. Someone posted, if I buy a $500 washer, that's an additional $5 on that $500 washer. It's in some sense, it's a minimal investment for a much, much brighter future. Whereas if we don't make that investment, I just hate to see where Jackson County is going to go. I'm very proud of the commission that we're working with. I think we've got a good commission. I think, we've attempted to come up with a solution to this problem. And we need to expect, we need to have those resources there so that all the commissions in the future will have that same commitment and dedication to be responsible. They'll have something that they have to be responsible for. Right now, if we keep it the way it is, there's that responsibility. It's walking in and saying your hands are tied, there's nothing you can do. We need to be able to invest in Jackson County and our communities.
Anyone have anything else?
Matthew, I have a question. I saw y'all have discussed the services that you possibly would have to, I guess, would be diminished. Could you share some of those with us?
A lot of that has to do, right now we still do a few appropriations, and like I said, library, rescue squad, health department, senior center, the public transportation that handles our seniors, that's something, that brings a lot of folks to Scottsboro as far as the folks riding those buses. We want them in Scottsboro to do their business, whether it's going to the doctor, going to Walmart. That's a county program, and the city actually participates. I think there's a bus driver and a bus that the city provides for that program as well. Boys and Girls Club. Senior RX, if you're not familiar with that program, that helps folks that can't afford their medicines to get the medicines they need. The 4-H program through the Extension Office, the ARC of Jackson County, Red Cross. We have to cut out all of those because our main priority is to operate our core business. So the first thing we would do would be cut out any appropriations. Like I said, there's some direct links to Scottsboro too. That would come out altogether. And then the next thing would be the staffing and the days a week. Those are the only two places we have left to cut. We've cut as much as we can and we think in waste and anything else. So the only two places are those appropriations. I think we calculated maybe $250,000 to $300,000 if we took all of that away. And then we've still got as I said, I think we're going to have to cut about $900,000 to $1 million just to cover the basics, prepare for next year's drop in TV and low taxes. So that comes to people, that comes to closing the courthouse once a week, comes to cutting staff somehow if we can manage to pull off some extra staff or whatever. We've cut, again, we've really trimmed down the budget to just operating what we can do, but we can't continue to operate like we've been operating. It's just not possible. We can't operate like the federal government and have a deficit every year. We've done it since 2010 was the audit year this was found. And we've had a deficit budget since 2010. We've got to fix it. We've got to stop it.
You didn't have anything? What about the impact learning center?
We do have some appropriations to that. Actually, we participate with the city of Scottsboro and the legislative delegation. Again, there's a lot of questions up in the air as to what is going to happen with those dollars. But we do participate in supporting the Impact Learning Center as well.
You probably already covered this, but how much have y'all cut with the new commission? As far as with the other commission that y'all?
We've cut over 20% of our general fund budget, and that does not include the cuts that we've made to our public works department, the cuts we've made to sanitation. Those departments, again, public works is solely on gas tax, and sanitation runs off those sanitation fees. So that doesn't include those cuts that we cut in those areas too, just to keep them within the budget. Again, the cost to do business continues to go up, but our revenues have decreased. So on our general fund budget is about $1.3 or $1.4 million.
Anybody have any questions? Nothing you want?
I can just do reports if you want to. This is the last thing, right?
Okay.
I can just do the reports.
Well, again, I thank you for the time. We talk about all the time we want to work together. We talk about support each other in the community. I think this has a profound impact on Scottsboro based on where the county goes over the next 20 years. There's a big difference as to what Scottsboro can be, or any of the municipalities in Jackson County, as opposed to what they will be if we can't make that investment, if we have to make the cuts. I hope that the citizens of Scottsboro will see that come August 18th. And we'll continue to work to get out there. As we've said, in every situation, if you have questions or comments or something that you think needs to be addressed, please come to us. Work with Mr. Smith. I know he's had some concerns, and I've talked to him about that. But we're glad to talk with you about any issues or concerns that you have with how we do business, or if you have ideas, we're welcome to see it. We have to find a solution, so we want to work with everyone to make that happen, and going forward in the future, we want to work with everyone for it to benefit everyone in the county. So thank you all for your time.
Thank you, man.